First, let me thank everyone for coming to this historic occasion in the Court of Common Pleas. We have endured a significant time in our community, and the court has endured a significant time in terms of managing its docket. But when we look back over this year, we are proud of what the court has done. We are proud of the work that we created, and we are proud of the people that have led the court in this time. And we are here to honor a person that came to our court in April the 23rd of 1999 as a judge. But prior to that time, she was a trailblazer in the Attorney General's office. She was a trailblazer in the defense bar, and she was a trailblazer as an attorney of the Delaware bar. So she's done a lot of things that brings us to this point and culminate to this point. But the most significant one, which we come today to celebrate, is in 1993, when she joined the court. She was the first female to be appointed to the Court of Common Pleas. Now, the court in its structure today is a misdemeanor court, but historically, this is one of the oldest courts in the state in terms of the Court of Common Pleas. And being that first judge, she was the only judge for the court in Sussex County at that time. So what justice was to the people in Sussex is embodied in what they call it. Now, when she came, she was one of 5. So there were only 5 members of the court at that time, and she was a female. So she would have been, what, 20%? And then the court grew. And now, on the court, there are 44% female, leading the way with Judge Beauregard. And I can tell you, in the conversation in terms of the path of the court, in terms of what the court should or should not do, she was instrumental in moving the court forward in terms of. She was here when we expanded the jurisdiction. She was here when we expanded the court. And she was here when we, in fact, expanded what we did. And for that, we owe her much. She was never a shrinking violet in terms of what we need to do and how we need to do that. And for that, we have the larger number. Before we bring on the Chief Justice, we will have remarks by Judge Clark, who served with Judge Beauregard. And then we will have the Chief Justice, who will then come on at 1:15 to give comments, and then we will come to that's it. Okay, Judge Clark.
I'm going to unmask for this briefly. Everyone's okay with that. Otherwise, I won't even be able to hear myself. Welcome back, Rizzy.
Good to see you, Judge Clark.
Great to see you.
Yes.
It's been a long time.
A year.
Because of COVID, we have not been able to communicate. My remarks are not going to be as formal and as small as Teacher Smalls. I just want to say a couple of personal things about my friend and colleague. As Judge Smalls referred to, she came on the bench in 1999. We had practiced a little bit against each other in different cases before that. She'd only been on the bench for a year when I came to the bench in April. And for that whole first year, not only was she the only Court of Common Pleas judge in Sussex County, she was also, as Judge Small said, the first female judge. And I think she was only the second judge of any kind in Sussex County who was a female. Only Judge Robinson before you, is that correct? So she was quite the trailblazer. And she only had a year under her belt when I came on. But we quickly not only became friends and colleagues, but she was my mentor. She showed me how to do this. She had learned it so quickly. She became a very, very respected judge throughout the state in a very short period of time. And taught me everything I knew and enabled me to be a good judge. So I'll always owe her for that. I don't have a lot of other comments. I guess I got a full time until the Chief Justice comes on. We miss her a lot. We really do. She established so many good processes here in our court. She treated people fairly. We both realized over the years that we had a very similar approach to judging, same judicial philosophy. And many times I'd pop in back and she was on the bench and watch her, not just to get some pointers and see how she's doing things, but also just to absorb it all, because she had a really good way on the bench, a really good way of dealing with the defendants, the pro se defendants. I think she was universally respected by the bar, and she was just a top-notch judge. And I do miss her. The legislature and the governor were very wise to give us a great replacement for Judge Beauregard. And just like Judge Beauregard, they've also given me a new friend. I'm very thankful to have Judge Mims here as a replacement. Some big shoes to fill. I think she'll do it. So. Are you going to be a retired returning judge at any point?
No.
I didn't think so.
If you were desperate, I would come for an afternoon to clear out a calendar, but no.
We might be getting desperate with all the COVID back on. But it's 21 years on the bench. It's a long time. It's a lot of experience, a lot of skill. I think you owe it to us every once in a while. Let us tap into some of that knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. And I want to recognize members of the court that is with us today. The second female judge to join the court is Judge Hartnett, who is seated in about the 6th row. We really want to recognize Judge Hartnett. Thanks for coming. And then the judge that succeeded Judge Beauregard is Judge Mims. We recognize Judge Mims was here. There are also several members of our staff here, who is the court administrator, Stephanie, was there. And then there is Wanda, who was with the court for many, many years. So you can see that in terms of diversity of issues in this court, the Court of Common Pleas is probably the most diverse in terms of male, female, and other members of the community in terms of the Court of Common Pleas. And one of the things that brings us the fact that the people that come to the court is very diverse, so people feel comfortable. If you talk about the Court of Common Pleas in any other state, they'll tell you that we have developed processes and procedures that make people comfortable coming to court and make all the processes easier to navigate the court. So we clearly want to be mindful of that. And Judge Beauregard was one of the first instruments in pointing the court in that direction. That when people come to the court, they shouldn't meet barriers. They should meet processes and procedures that help them, one, figure out why they're here, and of course, have documents and procedures to make them comfortable. One of the other persons that I want to recognize is Judge Beauregard's secretary. A lot of years, and we know that the court, of course, runs on all of the employees. So we want to thank everyone who's here, thank everyone for contributing to the court, and I think now we have time to bring in the Chief Justice. Do we not?
He has not joined as of yet, Your Honor.
He's not joined as of yet. The Supreme Court is having argument in Dover. He thought that they would be finished at 1:15, So we schedule him on 15th. I'm sure that he will be training us shortly. So if we want to make sure that we are efficient, why don't we have comments from Judge Beauregard, and then we could go to Chief Justice.
Thank you, Chief Judge Smalls, and thank you all for being here today. I haven't spoken in public for a year. I used to do it daily from the bench, and I had a little apprehension about doing that today, a little nerve, but I feel so comfortable here that it seems like second nature to me. I was a little apprehensive about doing the ceremony today because it's been a year and we've all moved on. The retirement has been great, but I'm here because, number one, I did not have an opportunity to say goodbye to my staff and to my colleagues and to the people that I worked with for many, many years who helped me every day look good. Without them, I would not have been the trailblazer that Judge Swan describes me as. But my staff, and I know that Judge Mims is going to find that out as she goes along, were just absolutely the best people in character and work ethic. And I love all of you. And I'm happy to have the opportunity to say thank you. And I wish we were saying goodbye with champagne over at the Great Hotel. But I'm just happy to have the opportunity to tell you that. I'm bittersweet, as Emily said in her article, that my mother is not here today. She was so looking forward to this portrait unveiling because she loved to brag about her children constantly. Judge Clark knows that. She would brag about Judge Clark too. But I have my brother Dean, sister Colleen, brother Anthony, my loved one Vinny, Jacob, April, Abby, so many, Brian. Did I miss any other family? So many people in my family are here, and I know my mother's here watching. And she's very happy, and she's very proud. And just thank you all. I feel like I can now close the door and have some closure with retirement. And Judge Smalls is not far behind me. Told him last year he should retire. He had to wait another year. Now he says he's ready. He's counting the days, 35, right? 35. So thank you all. Kelly, I love you. Thank you all for being here, and we'll see if the Chief Justice is available.
Yeah, I thought maybe he'd come in to a different group, but he has not.
Hollywood do this, right?
Yeah, right.
The reason that we decided to do this during this time is this is considered Women's History Month. This is a time when we celebrate what women have done to contribute. We know that we can never capture all of what they do. This is appreciation of those that are needing to us. And we know that we can never compensate Judge Beauregard for the time that she left from her family and the time she was on the court and the night hours that she in fact trying cases, and those days when she was here doing research, those days when she was here handling matters that were critical to this system of justice, not only in this county, but to this day. And we tried to, of course, figure out when is the most appropriate time to do this. We see that Women's History Month is a good time to do that. It's a good time to elevate person or per statute in this state and in this court, so we decided this was the time that was best to do it. And we're appreciative that you're here. And I think our Chief Justice is still.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on with the program, and we're going to have the unveiling portrait of a person. And I think the program might want to do that with you and others. System. Yeah.
I'm going to unveil the portrait, so I'm not quite sure what's involved with it. I assume we just,
And I think someone can do it. You don't just hold that. You will bring the rest of some more of that.
well, I think it's also appropriate, and I just realized this, that Judge Ellis' portrait, who I learned how to practice law in front of, is right behind me. And I know he's smiling today as well. And I know it's Women's History Month, but I do want to say this. When I came on the bench as the only woman in the Court of Common Pleas, which I was for quite some time, my colleagues, who are all male, mentored me, encouraged me, gave me an opportunity to speak my mind. They were just a great crew of people to work with. So I know it's Women's History Month, but they were all men. Judge Ellis, my father, they really encouraged me and helped me move forward. So I was very lucky, very lucky. And as far as trailblazers go, there were many before me. And Emily wrote about them in her article today. Judge Del Pesco, Judge Haley Alford, Judge Roth, Judge Justice Berger. I mean, there were so many strong, Judge Robinson, who I practice in front of. There are so many strong women who cleared the trail for me. And I was a lucky recipient of their effort and their push to be equals in the profession of law, which was difficult at that time. So I'm very proud to be part of this court. I think the Women's History Month, I'm honored that we're doing that today. And I'm just thankful for all the support I had from everyone. So thank you.
I want to say one more additional thing, just came to my mind now. So I guess you're on the bench about 2 years. I was on the bench about a year when we had Judge Ellis's portrait placed up above the jury box. And the way his head is tilted and the way he's presented, when you're sitting on the bench, he's staring right at you. And for 20 years now, I've had every once in a while look up at him staring at me, and he's like, boy, don't you mess up. But we have a different relationship. And now I have another judge looking at me and saying, you're fine, you can do it.
I think we're trying to get the Chief Justice on board.
It's specific to him, did he not get the email?
I don't think so.
He's looking for the link right now.
regular link, you actually want to be able to speak. Instead of can say a specific link to each of their emails. Should be from John. Let me think about this. Yeah, there was like 29 at one time, and so a few people have dropped off here, so we're down to 25. I want to see something. I just want to see something. See, I think if he comes in, yeah. Okay, where's Sean? If Chief Justice just uses the regular link that all the attendees are, I can promote him to be a panelist and he'd be able to speak. So if someone can just get that from him, good God.
I think we're trying to work out our technology problem.
Yeah, they're right there. So, you know, if he gets to any Zoom link, and then it's the meeting already gonna be.
And is this new carpet?
No, it's the same carpet that was here.
At least needed this.
And no one's been using it really. So they're on there.
It's going to be in terms of the air movement.
We also are not now. So we not there.
We get the boxes, the city boxes. It's designed just to take out.
Judge Judy is these things in here for me. It's your phone, that's a glass screen. That's technology.
They have them down the court. Yep.
The technology. It's very difficult.
This happened. All of a sudden,
Okay.
Get all the typing done.
and all of a sudden,
You're sitting on your bed with insurance.
I think what we're experiencing is what happens each and every day when you're doing cases by technology.
Yeah.
And is he here now?
I see somebody just came in. I'm looking for him. Well,
It might not be him, it might be someone
No.
else. All right. There you go. This be- So we have just joining us is the Chief Justice for the state of Delaware, Chief Justice Colin Sykes. Good afternoon, Mr. Chief Justice.
Good afternoon, Chief Judge Smalls. I apologize for my tardiness. It's argument day and we had a little mix up on the link, but here I am.
Pleased to have you. We have had comments by myself and Judge Clark, and we have unveiled the portrait, so we have prepared for your comments at this time.
Well, thank you very much. And I appreciate being able to attend. And I'm sorry I'm not there in person. It certainly would have been a much better experience for me to be there in person. Judge Beauregard, I really can't say enough about your distinguished service on the court for so many years. It's been an honor to have served on the Supreme Court for several years, but my time pales in comparison to the amount of miles you've done for the Court of Common Pleas. I thought it was a delightful News Journal article today too, which featured you, and I can't say enough thanks for your time, not just being as a groundbreaking judge and being distinguished in your own right, but just the wonderful service you've done for the Court of Common Pleas. I've enjoyed our time at the Court of Common Pleas retreat when we've been able to speak. And I'm here just to say thank you so much for your service to the citizens of the state. You know, it's been a tough year. And anytime I can, I like to, when I see judges, hopefully more in person than in Zoom, but I like to say thank you to judges for continuing with their service in the middle of a pandemic. With the leadership of Chief Judge Smalls and with judges like Judge Beauregard, you've really kept things intact and are positioning us to come out of this pandemic strong and handle what is an unprecedented backlog for the Court of Common Pleas. So I can't thank you enough for the personal sacrifice you've made during the pandemic and for all the years that you've been dedicated to public service to the citizens of Delaware. So thank you so much, Judge Beauregard. And it looks like a lovely portrait.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Justice. I appreciate that you had the time to Zoom in today, and just been a lovely event, and thank you for participating.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. As we close the proceeding, we really want to thank the Chief Justice for taking the time to appear at this occasion for the court. One of the things that you may not recognize at the Court of Common Pleas is that the caseload in the Court of Common Pleas across the state is growing more in Sussex County than any other county. The seriousness of certain offenses, drug offenses, DUI offenses is growing greater in Sussex County than any other county in the state. So the challenges grow. It was challenging when Judge Beauregard was here. It continues to be challenging. So we appreciate the judges, the staff, and everyone that really works in the court. And the infrastructure, like I said before, is here because of the work of Judge Beauregard in terms of trying to deal with and handle this tremendous growth. And we really thank you again for coming in. We really thank you for all the work that you did and the improvement. Thank you. And I'm really looking forward to your retirement. But when you look at the number of cases we have in Newcastle County, we have about 8,000 to 10,000 cases back then. And this county, we have backlogs of thousands of cases. So, you know, maybe that retirement won't be as long-lived as you think. Because it has to be all hands on deck to get this case back right here. We need this. So thank you again. Good luck to you. And I'm sure many can see it's ready for this type of this. And thank you all for coming.
Thank you.